Welcome back to Plan Life Right. I'm Kevin Ross.
I'm Matt Floyd, and my 16-year-old came downstairs last night, mid-homework, said, Dad, if you have $1 million and you take out 4% a year, that's only $40,000. And you'd never run out because the money's still growing.
Yeah, he said that unprompted?
Well, he's doing percentages in school, so he thought he'd discovered something.
Did you tell him that he basically just reinvented the most famous rule in retirement planning?
I told him that, and then I told him it might not actually be true anymore, and he looked at me like I'd ruined math for the guy.
Yeah, he's not wrong on the logic. He's wrong on the assumption underneath, which honestly is the same mistake an entire generation of financial advisors have made.
So my son is on the same level as licensed professionals. That's great. He's got a head start.
There you go. License. It's the one specific case, yes, in this one. The 4% rule, built in 1994. The guy who built it doesn't even use that number anymore. And millions of people are still planning their retirement around it, like it's gravity.
So today we're either going to ruin retirement planning the way I ruined my son's night, or fix something that's been broken for a while.
All right, so let's find out which one. Before we tear into it, the rule deserves credit because it was good work, okay?
Right.
William Binion, 1994, sat down with actual client problems and asked, how much can someone safely pull out of a portfolio every year without running dry?
Right. He didn't just guess.
He ran it against every rolling 30-year period going back to 1926, Great Depression, the 70s, all of it. 4% adjusted up for inflation each year, survived every single scenario.
I mean, that's a real result. That's not napkin math.
Yeah, it's not. But here's the part that gets lost. Binion himself called the 4% the worst case floor, not the typical outcome. He said the historical average safe rate was closer to 7%. Some periods supported 13.
Wow. So the number everyone memorized was the disaster scenario.
Yeah, the disaster scenario got promoted to be the universal rule, and nobody asked Binion if that was okay.
So what does he actually use now?
Well, he put out a book last year and advised his own worst case scenario up to 4.7%. Said 5 is reasonable under normal conditions with a more diversified portfolio than his original model.
So my kid's $40,000 a year number was actually a little conservative by the inventor's own math.
Yeah, by the inventor's own math. That's right. Which is a sentence I did not expect to say about a 16-year-old tonight. All right. So if the investor's comfortable above 4, why are we calling it dead in the title?
That's actually the question I want you to answer, because I read that title before we recorded and thought, isn't that a little dramatic, even if Binion's more relaxed about it now?
Fair. It's dead as a single number that applies to everybody, regardless of when they retire. It's not dead as a concept, okay? Because 3 things have shifted hard since 1994, and none of them are optional to ignore.
Start with the one that surprised me most when you walked me through it before we started.
All right, bond yields in 1994. Get this, and I love talking about bonds.
Oh, I know.
The 10-year Treasury was paying close to 8%. Bonds were doing real work in a balanced portfolio back then.
When people actually bought real bonds, not bond funds.
Yeah, exactly. You had retail brokers selling bonds, laddered bonds. Right now, it's sitting around 4, and we're high over the last 20 years,
Yeah. So the safety net that used to be doing half the job is doing a quarter of the job now.
Yeah, which means the stock side has to carry more weight, which means more volatility riding on that same withdrawal. And then here's the second thing. People are living longer than Binion's model assumed. He built it on 30 years. A lot of healthy 65-year-old couples today, one of them's realistically looking at a 40-year retirement, not 30.
Yeah. And I was just reading the other day that the first person to live to 150 years old is probably already born.
Yes.
And a 40-year retirement needs a smaller starting number because that money has to last longer. We coach to a 30-year retirement. That's what we coach all our guys to.
That's right. Researchers looking at a 35-year horizon is like closer to 3.5, 40 to 50 years closer to 3.
So my son's number works great if he dies at 95, exactly on schedule, and falls apart if he doesn't.
Yeah, nobody dies on schedule, by the way, which is sort of the whole problem with the planning around one number. And then third, inflation. Binion built it 2 to 3%. That was his inflation number.
Right.
We just lived through 9% in 2022. It's back down now under 4, but the model never accounted for that kind of spike happening early in someone's retirement. And that's key.
And if the market's down the same year inflation spikes, you're getting hit twice while you're also pulling more money out to keep up.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to people who retired right there in 2022. All right, so where does the honest number land in 2026? Morningstar put out research at the end of last year aiming for a 90% chance of not running out over 30 years.
I want a 90% chance I make it to my destination on an airplane.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
1 out of 10, we fall out of the sky.
I'm jumping on an airplane next week. I'm not sure that I want that odds. I'd like it a little better, please. Their number at 3.9%.
Not 4, not 5, 3.9, which is suspiciously close to my son's 4. just a hair more careful, I'd say.
And Binion's updated 4.7 is actually the more optimistic number on the table right now. More diversified portfolio than most people actually hold.
So we've got the rule's own creator on one end at 4.7, Morningstar's on the other end at 3.9. And basically everyone's right depending on what portfolio and what time horizon you're plugging in.
That's right. Which is the actual headline. It was never a number. It was always a range. And the range moves depending on the year you retire. If we go back to like 2008 to 2015, 16, Wall Street Journal, all of them were talking about a 1.8% is the rule. So because why? We had extremely low yields in the Treasury. Mm-hmm. The market volatility was crazy.
It was a roller
the financial crisis just crushed everything.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden they adjusted to that. So think about the people that retired back in 2008. The 1.8% rule.
Yeah, the folks that retired the week before Lehman fell.
Yeah,
they watched
exactly.
44% of their portfolio disappear. Exactly. They called their bosses back. Hey, I need to come back to work.
Come back, please.
Okay, but be honest with me. Isn't the rules, the rule's nuanced and depends on context? That's a less exciting episode than the rule is dead.
Well, it's less exciting, but it's the truth. And I'd rather lose a little drama than tell somebody a fixed number that quietly fells them at 83. Okay. And here's where I want to spend the rest of the time, because the withdrawal rate fight is actually a symptom, not a disease.
What does that mean?
The whole 4% conversation exists because people are trying to manufacture reliable monthly income out of a pile of money that moves around every day. Yeah. So Social Security doesn't have this problem, right? A pension doesn't have this problem. They show up regardless of what the market did yesterday.
Yeah, lifetime income annuities, I think, fall in that bucket.
There you go.
We got to do a show about those.
Do they really work?
So the rule is basically a workaround for not having enough guaranteed income, and that workaround has cracks.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Build a guaranteed income floor that covers the non-negotiables. That's your house and your food, your health care. And the withdrawal rate question shrinks from existential to discretionary.
Right.
Okay?
Discretionary meaning what, like vacations?
Yeah, vacations, your grandkids, the fun stuff. Not, can I afford groceries this year if the market's down?
Right. Choosing between groceries or, prescriptions.
Yeah,
There's some people out there that have to do that because they didn't plan their life right.
That's right. Never listened to the show.
I know, right? And that also kills that sequence of return risk problems from a few weeks back too, right? If the market tanks in year 2 of retirement, you're not forced to sell anything just to eat.
It's structurally eliminated. The portfolio gets to actually recover instead of getting rated at the worst possible moment.
So whether it's 3.9 or 4.7 barely matters once that floor is built.
Yeah, it matters a lot less, which is probably the most useful sentence in this whole episode. So, if you want one question to replace the whole withdrawal rate debate, here it is. What percentage of my non-negotiable monthly expenses are covered by income that doesn't depend on the market cooperating?
And if that number's low, that 4% fight gets real very fast.
Yeah, so you got to build the floor first. The rule becomes background noise after that. PlanLifeRight.com, retirement income scorecard. It's free, 7 minutes max. It asks exactly that coverage question before you ever have to argue with anyone about 3.9 versus 4%.
Because right now, the withdrawal rate conversation is a Band-Aid for a foundation that hasn't even been built yet for most people.
Yeah, PlanLifeRight.com. Go find your real number.
And for advisors, when a client brings up the 4% rule, do you debate the number or do you reframe that conversation?
You got to reframe it every time. The advisor arguing about the percentage is still having the withdrawal conversation. The one building the income floor is doing actual retirement planning.
One makes the client anxious about a decimal point. The other makes them confident about a structure.
AdvisorRescue.net will give you the framework to make that shift. Hey, next week, we're tracking the product everyone has an opinion about and almost nobody actually understands it.
Well, that's an aggressive setup.
The reverse mortgage,
Oh, I see why.
scam, miracle, or something in between. We're going to give you the honest version, including a use case almost nobody talks about.
My son's going to ask me about this one too, isn't he?
I doubt this one. Life happens fast.
Make sure your income is ready for it.
I'm Kevin Ross.
I'm Matt Floyd.
This is Plan Life Right.